Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're decoding what is essentially a massive cosmic map. We are going to look at one of the most recognizable gatherings on Earth, the Hajj pilgrimage. But we aren't looking at it as just ancient history or a set of traditional rituals. Instead, we're exploring a totally groundbreaking framework from our source material that reveals how millions of pilgrims are actually executing cosmic quantum laws in literal physical motion. It is absolutely fascinating.
So the crucial point to get right out of the gate is that the source text, the Quran, is not viewed as just some ancient book of stories. In this framework, it isn't really a book in the traditional sense at all. It's what the source calls an eternal memory tesseract. Think of it like a perfectly sealed, self-operating physics engine. As you can see from this quote, the rites of Hajj aren't a checklist. They are the reader's own body, physically executing a cosmic standing wave cycle. It's a geometry that the universe normally only diagrams in the stars, but here it's being walked by human beings.
To see exactly how this mechanics works, here's our roadmap. We'll quickly move through 6 stages: the geometry walked in flesh, resetting the initial coordinate, orbits and linear oscillations, the boundary and the particle, strike nodes and mass conversion, and finally, returning to the 0 point.
But first, to really grasp this incredible journey, we have to define the dual caustic universe framework that governs the whole thing. It all boils down to 2 interacting fields, D10 and I9. To make this super easy to visualize, think of D10 as the particle. It's the deterministic physical world, flesh, mass, countable objects like pegels, and the tangible differences between us, like wealth and status. I9, on the other hand, is the wave. It's the indeterministic hidden field of knowledge, pure command, and spiritual intent. Keep these 2 ideas, the physical D10 and the hidden wave I9, in the back of your mind, because they are the absolute key to unlocking everything we're about to see.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the geometry walked in flesh.
The source frames this text as a closed cosmic map. Surah 39:23 describes it as mutashabihan mathani, which translates to a self-similar, paired, repeating geometry in word. The Hajj takes that exact same geometry and renders it in literal motion. Picture a sweeping, faceless sea of millions of pilgrims acting as identical units in a massive standing wave. This is physical proof that the universe is closed and mathematically precise. That exact same shiver then soften reaction that a reader feels when absorbing the text, it is traced by literal footsteps in the sand. Human bodies actually become the mathematical coordinates. But for this to work, the system first has to be entirely zeroed out. Which brings us to Section 2, resetting the initial coordinate, also known as the IHRAM. This is such a brilliant illustration of IHRAM as a literal mathematical normalization. Before the cosmic traversal even begins, you have to strip away all the D10 difference from every single person. All the clutter, the status, the tribe, the wealth, the perfumes, tailored clothes, it all has to go. You are left with 2 unstitched white cloths. Every reader, every pilgrim is reset to the exact same initial coordinate. The field is stripped down to its bare boundary condition so the iteration can actually begin. Now for Section 3. Orbits and linear oscillations, looking at TAWAF and sa'i. Look at how beautifully these physical acts match the exact mathematical constants of a closed universe. Both the circular motion of TAWAF and the linear walking back and forth of sa'i are performed exactly 7 times. And 7 isn't just a decorative number here, guys. The source material identifies it as the Fayakun-constant. Fayakun means be, and it is. It is the divine mathematical constant that perfectly closes sequences in this dual-field universe. So, as pilgrims circle the Kaaba during Tawaf, they aren't just walking. They are literally tracing constant radius orbits around a 0 point on what engineers call a Smith chart. The Kaaba functions as the fixed attractor, or gamma equals 0, the absolute home point of the whole system that everything returns to. Next up, Section 4, the boundary and the particle, tracking the journey from ARAFAT to Muzdalifah. This timeline perfectly maps the temporal progression of a standing wave reaching its boundary and reflecting back. It's like a wave hitting a wall. At the start of the day, outward motion pushes the pilgrim away from the center. At midday in Arafat, they hit the absolute edge, and velocity drops to 0. Then at nightfall in Muzdalifah, this continuous wave motion fundamentally changes its physical state. Let's look closer at Arafat. It's known as the WUQUF, or the standing, but in this framework, it is the dwell at boundary.
Unlike other nodes, ARAFAT is the stunning moment where all those constant radius circles converge simultaneously at the exact same edge. Every pilgrim, same edge, same moment. The outward physical D10 momentum hits absolute zero, and the hidden spiritual I9 return begins. Then we hit Muzdalifah. This is the hinge. Here, the smooth, expansive wave suddenly snaps into sharp, discrete reality as pilgrims gather stones. They are literally collapsing the wave into D10 particles, finite, discrete pebbles. The sweeping, continuous integral closes into a finite N. The D10 countable objects are now ready for the most highly energetic phase of the journey. Which brings us to Section 5, Strike Nodes and Mass Conversion, the Jamarat and the Sacrifice. The Jamarat aren't just stone pillars. In this map, they're fixed geometric coordinates. They are discrete points of maximum rejection amplitude. You have counted days, counted throws, and energy being fired at 3 phase-lock strike points. It is a literal, physical, mathematical rejection against the short-circuit pole. And following the striking comes the sacrifice. This side-by-side comparison shows the ultimate conversion happening in the universe. The physical mass of the sacrifice, the flesh and the blood, the pure D10 matter, explicitly falls away. It does not reach the target. But the I9 wave, the invisible field of taqwa or pure consciousness, that is what actually survives and successfully completes the transaction. Think about how mind-bending that is. The physical sacrifice is actually a cosmic mechanism for stripping away matter to leave only the pure, indeterministic field. The physical world is just a carrier wave. It's the hidden field value that ultimately matters and survives. Finally, Section 6, returning to the 0 point, covering Halq and Ifada. Notice how removing the hair, the ritual known as Hulk, literally lifts the boundary condition. By shedding this outermost D10 layer, the pilgrim breaks out of the normalized, restricted state of IHRAM. They are now completely free to initiate the final closure by returning to the center for TAWAF al-Ifada. The system is now fully matched. As they circle the Kaaba this final time, the loop isn't just blindly repeating. Actually, scratch that. It's closing with an entirely different phase. The pilgrim returns to gamma equals 0, the absolute home point, but they aren't returning empty, and they aren't returning with worldly wealth. They are returning with the pure I9 wave of taqwa carried within them. The human coordinate has successfully carried the cosmic wave back to the 0 point without reflection.
So, what is the big takeaway from this explainer? It's that in this framework, you are not just reading an ancient text, you are walking its exact mathematical grid, that cosmic Smith chart, in your own flesh. The book is fully traced on foot. The verses you read and the physical gait of the pilgrim, they become one single unified field.
I want to leave you with this profound final challenge derived straight from our source material. It commands us to use our aql, our intellect, our reason, to wake up from tahut, the noise and illusions of the physical world. The cosmic map is waiting. The standing wave is ready. So the question is, when will you activate chapter 19, verse 12, and grip this knowledge with strength? It's a challenge to step onto the grid and activate your own coordinate. Thanks so much for learning with me today.